All right, guys, welcome to another episode on the Limb Podcast. Sorry we're a little late coming in. We had some technical difficulties. We had our phone sound coming through on the board, not sure why. We just hooked up everything coming back from our live there at 1010 Restaurant, so we'll talk about that here in a little bit. We're going to have Andrew Kimpel on this evening with Wild Paw Archery, and we're going to talk traditional archery, recurves. So archery season's coming up. Stick with us. Enjoy.
Hey folks, do you have your ID? That's right, Tracker's ID from the fine folks at Longspur Tracking and Outfitting. Tracker's ID is the first Whitetail interdigital bottled scent made specifically for training tracking dogs. A few drops goes a long way. Train your pups the way the professionals at Longspur train. Look for them today on Facebook. Just look up Longspur Tracking and Outfitting and shoot them a message, or contact them today at 304-439-1659. All right, guys, welcome to another episode of On the Limb Podcast with Nature's Voice Game Calls. Man, you can tell we're setting back up from being out of the studio.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah. I was like, wait a second, we don't have a power cable on there.
Yeah, we didn't have a power cable on our thing that goes to our headphones. I'm like, I can't hear myself. Anyways, you'll have that when you do these live podcasts.
Yeah, sometimes.
So, back in the studio, here we are. I had an awesome live podcast up at 1010 Bridge Road there at the 1010 Bridge Restaurant.
Oh, yeah.
With Chef Paul Smith. Yeah. That was an amazing time. Did y'all have a good time?
Absolutely. That was
oh, my gosh, absolutely.
Ridiculous.
That was a great time.
The food, the conversation, it was just all awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, great company, great food.
The atmosphere of that place, man, is phenomenal.
It sure is. They really got a nice place going there. I mean, it's just a good place to be.
Yeah.
So, if you all don't know, Chef Paul Smith was the 2024 James Beard Best of the Southeast Chef Award here in West Virginia. So, that's the whole southeastern part of the U.S., and little old West Virginia has the best chef.
That's right.
That's one of the biggest things that we was talking about, like some of the things that's happening here in West Virginia is going on a national level, and that's where he's at.
Yeah.
So... But anyways, if you haven't tried it, you need to go check them out. You will not be disappointed for sure.
No, you will not.
Not at all.
We're going to be talking archery again this evening. We're going to be talking traditional archery. I've been shooting my bow. I hope I can get out this year and archery hunt a little bit. Been shooting my new Warhead arrows, and I'm telling you, they're spot on. I mean, they are nice.
Nice.
So one thing I really like about these arrows, Dan's got some. He's getting his cut next weekend.
Yeah, next weekend.
The 17th. That's when you're going to be back in.
Yeah,
and
I don't think of what day it was. Yeah.
But so the front of center on these things is really good. So that really helps with impact. And they've got a little sleeve that you put on the end of these arrows, and then you put your field point in, or you put your broadhead in that. So it's like a little spacer, but it allows it to be just a little heavier on the end.
Makes sense. Okay.
So
yeah,
the impact is increased tremendously on mine. I'm almost shooting through my target.
Yeah,
they're coming out the back of the target. I mean, at least I'd say 16, 18 inches.
Yeah,
every bit of it. So,
I mean, they'll do that when you're shooting from 10 yards,
Well, I didn't want to tell them that.
Hey, wait a second. I heard our guest chuckle.
Or if you're standing there and you jab it really hard with your hand.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and then take pictures.
Why are you looking at me when you say that?
Oh, Lord. Oh, guys, don't forget, hey, be sure to check out episodes 110 and 111, Forks of the Robinson Hunting Club and Stick Tamer with Cord Burns. They're out now on all our major networks. Be sure to head over to our Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or wherever you get your podcasts to listen to those episodes and any of them that you haven't caught or need to catch up on. Don't forget to check out OutdoorProShop.com and use podcast 10, ApparatusandSense.com, On the Limb, and Nature'sVoiceGameCalls.com, podcast 15 at checkout to get all those great discounts from those phenomenal sites. I mean, if you ain't been on Outdoor Pro Shop, there's just an absolute plethora of gear.
Yeah.
It would take you all day to literally look at the whole site, man. It's insane.
It's amazing the stuff that they've got on there. I mean, they put a lot of work into that website.
Yeah, especially, I mean, he's coming out doing the cans now, suppressors, you know, and he's got, I was talking to him not long ago. They're working on doing FFL trusts. So you'll be able to do a trust through them here soon, if not already.
Yeah, I think you can already do that now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a good thing. All right, well, be sure to check us out on all of those that Dan mentioned there. And like I said, we got traditional archery this evening. So without further ado, please welcome with me Andrew Kimpel, the owner of Wild Paw Archery. How you doing, Andrew?
I'm doing well. How you guys doing this evening?
Oh, man, we're doing great.
Great. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem, buddy.
I appreciate you coming out.
So,
Yes, sir.
So Dan wasn't with us there in Morgantown when we met you for the first time, but that was last year. Well, that was this year actually at the show. And
Okay.
you know, we got to talking there a little bit. So, tell us a little bit about Wild Paw Archery.
Okay. Yeah, Wolf Paw started as a project a little bit, you know, back in the early 2000s when I was still an executive chef and managing a restaurant down in Baltimore. At the time, I was switching from, you know, as an avid compound hunter, having shot so many deer, I wanted a new challenge. I did buy some traditional bows, a couple high-end ones from back then. There were a handful of maybe 10 or 12 really popular bowyers in America. Wasn't like today with Facebook and everybody building bows. So, you know, there wasn't really anything I liked there. I was building primitive bows already from solid stave trees, local trees on the farm I was living at in Harford County, Maryland. Hickory, sassafras, black locust. And so, you know, these bows, everything they talked about and in the books and this and that, and I just couldn't seem to find it and I didn't want to spend any more money. So it became a project as an itinerary goal for the restaurant I was working for. We had, it was a privately backed restaurant by the Clarion Corporation. It was kind of a fancy deal. So we had this corporate structure that made us do quarterly itinerary goals. You know, that quarter we had 3 goals for the restaurant and our employees, and also 3 personal goals that we had to put in writing and call in on a Zoom meeting.
Oh,
Back
wow.
then in 2007, in Zoom meetings, there was no screen or nothing. You call in and wait for you know,
Nice.
you wait for corporate to get on the phone, and we're all piled in the office. All the managers are piled in the office, and you know, we got present our pitch. Of course, they've already had it already because we had to submit it like a week or 2 before for them to go over things and yay or nay it, you know.
Yeah.
So that's what it became. There was at the time, from what I could see, I'd only been to one traditional event, and all the catalogs and everywhere else, all the bows were pretty well built the same. You know, they were recurve was 2 tapers, which taper out towards the limb tip from the butts at the, you know, riser where it fades out, and then 2 pieces of glass. You could hold all those bows up next to each other, and they would have the same profile, except they just had different handle grips. So there was, just like today, there was a lot of going on where, you know, bow copies were used or, you know, copied or designed.
Sure.
Whatever. Everybody did the same thing. So I was building bows. Then after that project, I started my first laminated bow, and kind of named the company. During that little thing I had to submit. So I called it Wild Paw Archery. And that came from here up in Western Maryland. And we have relatives on my dad's side here that ever since I was little, they called me Wolfie. So I just thought, well, Wild Paw sounds pretty cool, so I'll do that. And then the first bow was the Alpha Hybrid, which I called a hybrid because I put up to seven to 9 layers in the limbs. I made really short bows that accepted really long draw lengths. I was popped up at my first traditional event after selling bows for 5 years out of a big local archery store in Hartford County that was at the time they sold the most toy bows on the East Coast. So I was selling bows out of there and went to a traditional event where there was all the popular bowyers up there at the time, and just kind of popped up and didn't know my butt from a hole in the ground, really. But it was a great experience. I was accepted by everyone. I was labeled as unorthodox in the beginning, because my bows were so different. Everything about them was different. Even the micro limb tips, which everyone said was unsafe. And then so now, all these years later, a bunch of bowyers have shared information, and a lot of guys built bows the same. So you'll see a lot of really incredible hybrid designs out there. There's a lot of talent in the market, and I just love it. It's an obsession for most of us.
Yeah, it sure is. So what was the name of that shop there that you're talking about in Maryland that you used to sell in?
That was called Autumn Sky Outfitters.
Autumn Sky Outfitters.
Mm-hmm.
They still in business?
Yeah, they are. I believe Don Cullins is still the owner.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you was talking a little bit about yourself. Have you always had a background in the hunting? And how did you get started? Your father, your grandfather, how did you get started in the hunting outdoors?
Yes, sir. Well, Dad started taking me hunting when I was about 10. Squirrel hunting was the first thing we did. But I was always, I always had an obsession with archery, even at the age of 6. My mother's recently given me a picture that kind of brought back a lot of memories. It was some kind of little stick bow that I made, used fishing string. I used to make those a lot. Fishing string for the string, and I would sharpen the arrows from other straight sticks and river grasses that, from there in Hartford County on the upper Bush River, the head of Bush River where we grew up. There, and I would try to shoot birds and rabbits, and when I was about 6 years old, I did shoot a rabbit with my buddy. My buddy Joey still laughs about it because I didn't know what to expect, and of course that little tiny bow that was probably only pulling 6 or 7 pounds didn't quite kill that little bunny.
You'll have that.
He'll have that. So there he was. I was super petrified there down the creek bottom behind the houses that we'd be busted. So I took that little arrow and just kept it jamming in that poor little rabbit, and it squealed and squalled until it was done.
Oh, wow.
And I busted out in tears and learned my first lesson about ethics and arrow weight. You name it, a lot was learned then, and I continued to build those. Up until I kind of got so busy when I was about 20 years old, going into 21, in the restaurant business, and making strides there that I wasn't able to hunt again. I hunted the ages of 14 all the way up then till 18 or 19, and then didn't again until I was about 25. But when I turned 25, the archery assessment came back again, and it was, of course, all the compound stuff for many years up until I did put it down as far as hunting is concerned, and quite a few years after I started building them. It wasn't until 2014 that I was confident enough with the tackle and myself to hunt these big bucks that we're all after, and just game and period,
So your first animal taken with hand and bow was a rabbit.
Yeah, little Eastern cottontail,
Nice.
little baby one.
Even though you didn't kill it, that's a good shot.
For being young like that? What I mean is with the first shot. Yeah. With the first shot, you know.
Yeah, well, no, that was the ethics part I talked about. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's pretty cool to have a shot like that.
Yeah.
That young.
Yeah, especially something we made like that as a kid. You know, we all did that.
Yeah.
We all built bows. And
Yeah, but I never shot anything other than my cousins.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I would actually try to shoot birds across the creek in the trees, up in the trees like the doves and the crows. I would try to shoot them in the tree across the creek, and I lost a lot of arrows. Some of them went in the neighbors' roofs.
Yeah.
So that was back. That was back when we had the aluminum arrows. Good Lord.
Yeah.
I tell you, there's been a lot of, technology, and archery's came a long ways in the past. Just in the past 10 years, archery's came a long way since back when they just had the stick and the string. But it's crazy. I'm glad that they still. There's people out there like you that still make these recurves, because I love the aspects of the recurve and the whole instinctive shooting thing.
Well, that's good to hear. Yeah, it's good to hear. We always get excited. It's good to hear about anybody that may consider traditional hunting as part of their repertoire. Even just experience at one time as an experienced hunter, to have that under your belt, the feeling of what it was like for our ancestors. I think we're, in all, we know we're blessed to have the opportunity here in this great country to hunt. Some people look down on traditional hunting while there's this modern tackle.
Yeah.
But we're here for a reason. That's because our ancestors did it.
That's right.
Up until recently, until all this modern technology and just how fast it's gone, even since '92, has been amazing. And, that was part of what drove me to want to go back to traditional. And but it's the modern drive keeps us going. There's always modern things.
Yes.
For instance, I have my new operating partner, and I'm sure everyone knows I'm with Whitetail Forensics Camouflage now. And as an operating partner, I've designed some products for the catalog. And one of the first bow we put on is a very modern hunting rig, and it happens to be of the International Limb Fitting origin. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but that's basically, of course, a very respectable company. When their patent come up, there were many companies in America that were ready to use international limb fitting, especially on hunting rigs, because most of the bows were meant for competition archery in the Olympics and so on and so forth. And so these international limb fitting, I've designed their own hardware. So Wolf Paw has a line of hardware that's available for other bowyers to use to build their international limb fitting rigs. And they can accept limbs from other companies. So if the specs are right inside the riser, it's a toolless hardware system where the limb bezels are also adjustable like a compound. So you can relieve a little bit of weight off of these bezels and change the brace height on the bow, how far its string is from the grip. A little bit. You can adjust the limbs left to right on some models of the risers because there's a lateral tilt there. We happen to tap them at the customer requests for a sight, stabilizer, bushing, and or for your camera. I have mine set up with an Arizona Archery Enterprises 2-prong old school style rest, and I'm shooting solid veins from Flex Fletch. Totally equipped with really nice Bojack's brand stabilizers, which they have a really nice string stop. That's like a limb dampener and string stop for like aggressive recurve limbs and an eye to eagle bows and so on and so forth. So for guys that are interested in getting into it, that may not necessarily trust a primitive piece of tackle like a self bow or even a lower poundage longbow, that we hope that this strikes their interest because they're incredibly fast, silent, and efficient bows, and you can take them apart and put them together in a matter of seconds.
Nice.
Without any tools, and they're short. They're short killers, is what they are.
So are these out? Are these out now? I haven't seen these.
Yes, sir, they are. Yeah, we presented all the final prototypes there at the Great American Outdoor Show. Tim Minnick, the owner and founder of Whitetail Forensics, and I and his team, along with his son, who is the designer of the 3D geometrical pattern of the Whitetail Forensics camo scheme. And so then after that, we've just been going to some shows and building devots for our sponsored members, who are team members, reps, and ambassadors, who have taken on a sponsorship through Wolf Paw and Whitetail Forensics to get these bows out there and start hunting with them. And I can tell you that 8 out of 10 of them are all new to traditional archery. So it'll be very exciting for us and see them grow in the sport.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we're going to take a break and hear a word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
Yes, sir.
This segment of On the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls is brought to you by AMG Network Hosting, LLC, a national independent agent for most major telecommunication service providers. If your business is in need of internet, phones, credit card processing, let AMG Hosting help you compare options. They work with over 100 national carriers, and they can help you choose the best option for your needs. Our independence means we are loyal to our customers, not a brand or a company. Call us today at 304-608-3653 or visit us at amgnhconsulting.com. amgnhconsulting.com. Phone number again is 304-608-3653. AMG Network Hosting, LLC. All right, guys, we're back with Andrew Kimpel with Wolf Paw Archery. So I believe Dan's going to give us our salute to valor for this evening.
Absolutely. So tonight we're salute Barry Jameson from Morgantown, West Virginia. He served in the Navy for 4 years out of Pascagoula, Mississippi, and done 2 tours of duty in Iraq. So we'd just like to thank him. Thank you for your service, and we appreciate everything you've done. Going to Iraq twice is it's a long time to be out of country.
Yeah, for sure. Especially over there.
Salute.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you for your service.
Getting back to it, you're talking about a lot of people aren't into the traditional and all that. You got all those new guys you just talking about. You got any tips or pointers on shooting that you'd like to share for somebody that may be looking at getting into it?
Sure, I can comment a little bit on that for y'all. I guess, I might say first off, as an adult, it can become a little more difficult to pick up instinctive shooting, and that be whether you're shooting 3-under or split finger. That choice is there for you. As adults, we tend to work through a thought process a little bit more in our minds, rather than picking up and going with it. And as a beginner, just need to remember, first and foremost, that it's about your form. I might suggest anyone that needs a quick good videos or 2 on that to check out Mr. Tom Klum, who owns Rocky Mountain Specialty Gear, and he's an Olympic archery instructor here in the United States. Other places he has one of only 4 or 5 people, I believe, with his level of certification. And he's a great teacher for instinctive archery. That teach you a little bit about, the draw cycle and actually what we're doing there. Next off is, as I might relate it to some of you folks who may be new to it, to think of a pitcher, a professional pitcher in baseball. Think them boys down there at WVU. Also think about billiards. When we're shooting a bow and arrow instinctively with no sights, it's very proper to be in line and in form. And so if you're in line with your arrow and your arms being in line as far as your drawing arm and elbow, where that shoulder's positioned, as far as your shooting arm, coming back from there, there's just certain angles we need to remember. And once you learn your form, you'll start to see those angles. Now, you can see a professional pitcher. He can assess a situation. He can take his eyes off a situation. He's already pictured in his brain that target. He knows where his bullseye is.
Yeah.
And he can look away and reacquire that within a millisecond. And through form, he can put that ball exactly where it needs to be. The same goes with billiards. When we shoot pool, whether we're even good or not, even the average Joe can pretty well assess where one ball is as an angle and have that spot pictured in their mind while they take their eyes off of that and then aim on the cue ball. And then their angles come in from up and down, left and right in their English and so on and so forth. So when you draw a traditional bow, whether or not you're going to try to use the arrow, the point of the arrow, when you're shooting instinctive, you generally may not see the point of that arrow. Unless you're shooting 300 and you try to string walk a little bit and pull that arrow up under your eye. When you're shooting instinctive, you pull that arrow back, you see it. You're pretty well aiming. You pick out a spot on that target with your eyes, both eyes, and you don't really take your eyes away. As you're coming up through your draw cycle, you can see if your tip of your arrow is centered in your lower peripheral vision with both eyes. You can see if that's centered or not, left and right with your target.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, with split finger, the tip of the arrow as you come to full draw, unless you're shooting a real long arrow. The tip of the arrow then goes out of your vision. So you're then, both of your eyes and your form is basically what's putting that arrow exactly where you're looking. So if you have a clean release, you'll find that instinctive archery is very efficient. It's super accurate. It's all about muscle memory and form. So once you get into shooting these arrows, you have muscle memory, and you have properly tuned arrows for your bow, which is very much different than compound. You need to have an arrow that's definitely flying like a dart. It's going to stabilize within 3 feet off of that shelf, whether you're shooting flat off the shelf or whether you're shooting a rest. And once that happens, and you have clean releases, you'll notice how accurate that you can become and how capable you are as a human being of shooting animals even at 30 and 40 yards with traditional tackle. Just can't let it get to your head, boys.
Yeah, that's for sure.
That makes sense.
That's one of the main things is, it's kind of like golf. Golf's all about really in your head. I mean, easing your mind and just,
Them guys are next level.
Not getting up there thinking about it. But, I mean, it's 90% of your mind, I think. And,
my problem with golf is after about the 7th hole, I'm seeing 2 balls.
That's not the golf, Dan.
You spend balls and
you spend too long in the ninth hole.
4 times to pray forgiveness for all the cuss words that came out of my mouth.
Yeah, he was too long at the 19th hole. That's exactly right.
That's funny. So you got an event coming up here pretty soon. Are you going to be at the beer, or let's see, the Deer, Gear, and Beer?
Gear and Beer.
Yep.
Yeah, Deer, Beer, and Gear Expo. That's great. Thanks for asking. Mr. Jerry Critchfield, the hunt chef, he's putting on that event. That's at the Fayette County Fairgrounds there. I believe that's not too far from Morgantown.
Nope.
Up Uniontown there a bit. We're going to do that. I'll be representing Whitetail Forensics Camo and Wild Paw Archery for the products that we have available. And I'll be looking forward to meeting everybody and seeing old faces and meeting new.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a really good show. He's going to have some live entertainment there during the show, and we're going to have some really good food, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
So, excuse that background noise. We got ATVs and all kinds of stuff around here.
Yeah, you're enjoying the nice evening outside up there. It was 101 when I got in my truck this evening.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was rough outside today.
It was beautiful here today. I'm telling you, 77 degrees.
Are you kidding me?
Oh, my God. It was. honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of got chilly.
I kind of got chilly.
I don't know. Where are you living? It got 77 degrees only.
I'm out here in Missouri right now.
Yeah.
Yesterday was 111 degrees.
Yeah.
I see.
And today, I don't know, it was overcast. The wind was blowing. That wind had a little bit of nip in it. Where had 2 weeks in the hundreds. It was something. I'm like, man.
It's been roasting everywhere, really. Super hot everywhere, really.
Yeah, it has.
All that drought and this and that.
Yeah, we've got plenty of rain coming up the coast, though, from that tropical storm Debbie.
Yeah, Debbie.
Oh, Debbie.
Oh, Debbie.
I had 2 aunts named Debbie. They were tropical storms, too.
Oh, Lord.
I had an aunt named Debbie.
She's welcome. Her rain's welcome here in my yard, I'll tell you that.
Aunt Debbie and Uncle Bud. Yep. Man, had some good times at their house. Anyway, so tell us about the Whitetail Forensic Camo real quick. Now, that's one of the things that caught my eye at the Morgantown show.
It looks good.
Because it's unique.
Yeah.
And it's something that's not, I haven't seen nothing out there like it. So it kind of caught my eye there at the Morgantown show, and that's kind of what sparked our conversation was the camo, and then we got to talking about the bows. So tell us a little bit about that. I also like the WTF.
Yes, sir. Yeah, well,
that's catchy. That's catchy.
The most interesting thing is the logo. Of course, when most people see it, and that could be anywhere, from my experience now, from kids the age of 7 years old up to old men that are probably 90.
Yeah.
As they see that, and first comment that comes out is, of course, what you think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what to say either. I think they might need to go to church too. But the WTF Whitetail Forensics, it's an excellent camouflage, and I first come across it myself on Facebook 2 years ago, and had the great opportunity of meeting the owner as he was just into his basically second year, 2.5 years into business, I think, with the camouflage. It was something he designed. It took about part of 5 years. He and his son did a lot of research on the science of deer vision. Of course, and learning so, as many people know, deer are red and green colorblind and have usually about 20 to 100 vision.
Yeah.
So they aren't completely colorblind, and they see, greens as shades of yellow, while your reds may turn either gray or light color or something like that. So they chose the particular 3 colors of this very light, off-white, kind of an antique white or Wimbledon white color, and maybe what some might call a coyote brown and your jet black colors. But the actual camo pattern is really sets it apart from everything else. Combined with those color combinations and the 3D geometry that Brendan Minnick developed, well, I tell you, it's definitely, when you look at it, you kind of are like, WTF, because that's what I thought on Facebook. I said, WTF is this? But immediately right thereafter, knowing the different camouflage and everything that's on the market and everything I've worn, which are most effective and why they were. When I saw this, I thought, well, it's so out of the ordinary.
Yes, it is.
It's definitely not made for human's eyes. And I've got to experience this stuff.
But I think it's gorgeous, though, honestly. I mean, it's out of the ordinary, but it is gorgeous.
Wear it. Yeah, I partnered with Tim after meeting him at an event and talking to him a little while. I was doing a business pitch, and 4 months later, we were at the ATA. And so I've been blessed to have the opportunity to be the first person to get the licensing and on the camouflage, be able to use it in some products and develop those for Mr. Minnick.
That must be where I've seen it at.
Where's that?
The ATA.
Could have been ATA or could have been Harrisburg.
Well, I wasn't at that one. We was at the ATA, and because I was just looking at it, and I'm like, I don't remember seeing it Then I looked at it, I'm like, oh, I've seen that. I don't know where, though.
Yeah, it had to have been at the ATA. Yeah, I bet you it was.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, but I tell you, boys, I mean, I can only encourage people to try it. Not only is it's such a quality made outfit from a manufacturer who's based here in America. They do our manufacturing overseas, but they own the plant, and it's great. We have good quality control, very, very tough fabric, which is licensed to us and no one else. The fabric has a nice, durable water repellency finish on it, which, as everyone knows, those aren't waterproof, but they work great. I sat in a good downpour for about an hour and a half underneath the pine tree, and it just poured its butt off. And after an hour and a half, yeah, my shoulders and knees, my butt started to soak through a little bit, but that should be expected.
Yeah.
But, the experience with the animals, especially being a traditional hunter, many of us like to take shots 30 yards and under, up close encounters. When I thought I was busted for movement, even the time I was busted on scent, 100% busted, these animals could not pick me out for one bit. Even once they detected movement, and that old matriarch would come in for a closer look. You know how they do it. They come in stomping and looking and shifting and blowing, but the blowing seemed to stop. I didn't get blowed or nothing like that when these animals couldn't pick me out. They gave up after a few minutes and kind of stiff-legged it out of there.
Yeah.
So the one time I did get busted, it was when my binoculars were swinging, and I definitely know the binoculars swinging a little bit right there. Cute the animal in, but I was blessed to have the experience of shooting a really, really big buck one morning. This animal looked up at me 4 times, and he was literally 4 yards at the base of the tree. And that 4th time, as he looked at me, and I was trying to get the camera situated and get it turned on, I accidentally touched my fletchings, which I didn't have veins. I actually had fletchings. That made a noise.
Yeah.
And he looked up at me again. I thought for sure then it's over. My opportunity would be over, and he just put his head back down and grabbed another acorn. And started munching. I literally stood up in the tree stand right there.
Man.
Something caught his attention. He then went behind the tree, and I had another shot opportunity after that. But that's a whole different story for another time. But
it's kind of crazy because a lot of people think that your camouflage has to mimic the environment, and from hearing you talk about this, it's more about the actual way the deer sees the colors.
Absolutely.
Instead
their colors.
Instead of the.
I think their pixelations are different.
Yeah.
They're looking for shadows and light and movement.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the reasons I don't use too many bright colors on my fletchings. Anything that's white or like a quiver that keeps my arrows all contained within a small cluster, rather than fanned out like a keyboard for the animals to see when I'm going to move my bow a little bit, preparing for the shot.
Yep. That's awesome.
Yeah, kudos to Tim Minnick and his son Brendan Minnick for developing Whitetail Forensics Camo and having something new for us all to experience. We still have the camo for a great price on the website, even though we raised the price for the bundle deal. I mean, heck, you can get the whole outfit, which is geared around archery. It's a midweight, not quite heavyweight outfit. Definitely for, early season, unless you're layering up, but you can layer up well underneath. They have great stretchability. So I think for right around like $320 or something, $325 or $30, you can get a bundle with the long sleeve polyester shirt. Comes with pants, your jacket. Comes with a set of gloves, your neck gaiter, and you'll be ready to rock and roll from there.
Nice.
That's just a lot of great features in the outfit. Yeah. The hood zips off. The hood actually moves your head. If you turn your head, you don't wind up looking into the side of your hood. There's a built-in face mask as well, which you can flip behind your head, or you can wear with the face mask. Quite convenient. So, thank you for the opportunity to talk about camouflage.
Yeah, that's one of the, we're talking about archery, but that's one of the things that I wanted to hit for sure because, obviously you're a part of it, but it's so different and it's just something that's unique. And I'm going to be honest with you, when I first seen it at the show, I thought, he's got MC Hammer's pants here.
That's hilarious.
I mean, it really does catch your eye, but I mean, it is a good looking outfit for sure. Well, Dave's going to hit our salute to, well, not our salute.
Salute to Jesus.
It's our salute to Jesus. He's going to talk about the word here for a little bit.
Yes. All right. So our scripture of the day today is it's out of the book of Acts. It's chapter 10, verse 38, and this is out of the Passion. This is for Dan, out of the Passion. He likes when I read
Awesome.
the Passion. All right.
He said,
So
awesome.
it says, Jesus of Nazareth was anointed by God with the Holy Spirit and with great power. He did wonderful things for others and divinely healed all who were under the tyranny of the devil, for God had anointed him. And I think that, so many people, like, they want to try to blame the bad on God and,
Yes.
but I mean, that right there, it's pretty explicit. It's like God's the one trying to do good for you. It's the devil who's doing the bad stuff.
Well, God wants us to have the best of everything.
Yeah.
He don't want his children lacking in anything.
Yeah, right.
And the world that we live in, it portrays that God is bad. God does all these bad things.
Yeah,
If something happens bad within your life or, your family,
yeah,
some people seem to look at it as, why did God let this happen?
Yeah, right.
Or
Yeah.
something like that.
You get a lot of that.
Yeah, you do. And I'll tell you something else too, Mike, is they call earthquakes, tornadoes, hurricanes acts of God.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
It's great. We get that little excerpt from Acts there. It's very interesting because today, as I worked down at the job site, Deep Creek Lake, I just happened to move a piece of wall or whatever, and there was an old book there. It was a lot of the whole book of Acts described. And so it was really interesting seeing that today. And then you have an excerpt for us from Acts. So that's great.
That's awesome. Did you say Deep Creek Lake?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! My
That's
best friend in college.
Mania. You don't want to go around there. And
my best friend in college lived on Deep Creek Lake.
it's a nice place, but it's quite changed from when we were young.
Oh, really? Okay, all right, cool. Well, anyway, I was just like, Deep Creek Lake? I've never heard anybody talk about Deep Creek Lake.
Isn't that funny?
That is kind of funny. Anyway, go ahead, sorry. But yeah.
It's a nice area. It's a place to be. A lot of shopping's down there in the southern part of the county. I'm up here in the northern part of the county where, most of us country people like to stay, a little more secluded.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, the lake is, it's still got, from what I hear, you get in there at the right times, there's still good yellow perch, some good slabs coming out of there. I haven't heard too much about any walleye or anything like that. But I still know at times this fishing's still great. So if anybody likes to ice fish, sometimes we'll get a good ice over come late December.
Nice. Well, Andrew, it's been great speaking with you this evening.
Yes, it
It was a
has.
pleasure having you talk about Wild Paw Archery and the WTF Camo.
Yeah.
Mike and Dan, we appreciate the opportunity, and it was a great opportunity to be there. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you coming on.
Yep, for sure.
Cheers. I wish you guys the best this hunting season. Hope to see you soon.
Yep, same to you, sir.
Yeah.
We'll see you at the Hunt Chef show there in September.
Oh, great. Oh, that'll be great then.
Yep, we'll get to
You'll have
talk.
you'll have to get me on some of them game calls then. I love calling my bucks.
I sure will. We'll have plenty of deer calls there for sure.
And I'm a fair chase hunter, so I use a lot of, calling and techniques like that.
Yeah.
There's no bait pop anywhere near me.
Definitely.
There
Nice.
you go.
All right, well, you have a good evening, and we sure appreciate you again. Thank you, sir.
All right, gentlemen. Cheers.
All right, have a good one. All right, guys.
Bye.
All right, guys, be sure to check us out on Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, Spotify, or anywhere you get your podcast. We're there. And one thing I want to leave off for this evening is, we was talking about the word there, and there's going to be bad things that happen in everybody's life. We're not going to walk through life or get through life without incident. God says that we will fight the good fight of faith, and we'll have issues. He's not going to say, he doesn't say everything's going to be perfect.
Right.
But we have to know that he's the one in control, and love is one of the major factors with that. Love God, and all those things will work itself out. I had the scripture in my mind there, and I got to talking, but it's you know what I'm talking about. The scripture where he talks about that all things work to good for those who love God.
Yeah, who are called according to his purpose.
And called according to his purpose.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's one of the scriptures that I stand on
yes,
a lot.
That's a good one, Bud.
It is.
Sorry to call you Bud.
No, you're
That's
good.
a good one.
Yep, it sure is.
All things work together for good, because when it looks like it ain't working together for good, if you can just know that.
Yeah, he will turn the negative into something good.
Absolutely.
So
I love it.
All right, guys. Well, we appreciate you listening. Feel you for a little bit of word there before we go this evening.
Nice. Like it.
All right, have a good one. Dan, we appreciate you, brother. Be careful out there.
Yeah, sure will, guys. I appreciate it.
All right,
Have
man.
a good evening.
Holler at you later. This episode of On the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls is brought to you by Apparition Scents, an outdoor and sporting goods company based in Billiner, Pennsylvania. All of their scents developed and hand-bottled with strict attention being paid to every detail. Contact them today at 724-998-7646 or check them out at ApparitionScents.com. 100% lethal or your money back guaranteed. Get a hold of them today at 724-998-7646 or check them out at ApparitionScents.com.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching and listening. We sure appreciate it. Make sure you give us a share, give us a follow, like. We're on YouTube. And we're on about every different network that you can think of to listen to us. So we've got a bunch of great episodes out there. Go check them out. We sure appreciate you. Have a good evening.